Morning. I am very excited to see all of you and to welcome you to our great state into Irvine, California. I want to thank, first of all, Nadador Vardan for this opportunity to join all of you. Nadador asked me to share as you gather here in California in the United States of America. For me, as California State Treasurer and as introduced, I am California's banker, to give you an update on where we are fiscally and financially, how our economy is performing here in California, and to give you a sense of what we view unfolding over this upcoming year. So to give you a perspective, California is in and of itself the world's sixth largest economy. So we are an economy of about $2.46 trillion. We're an incredibly diverse economy, and we reflect the changing demographics of the United States of America. In 1960, which is 2 years prior to my birth, America looked very different than America does today. And in fact, California is a precursor of what the United States of America will look like in decades to come. In America in 1960, it was 85% white, it was 11% African American, it was 3.5% Latino, and it was 0.6, and I know many of you are very bright, and I know you started processing that in your mind. I know it doesn't equal 100%. When you do the rounding, it adds it a little over 100%. But it was 0.6 of 1% Asian American. Today, Asian Americans are over 5% of the United States population, and here in California, we're 40% Latino, 38% white, 15% Asian American, and 6% African American. And so if you look at the immigration patterns as we go forward, in hard numbers, Latinos are the fastest growing, but if you look at percentages, especially dramatically, and what has transpired since the Great Recession here in the United States of America, Asians have become the fastest growing population percentage-wise, and we'll see as immigration patterns continue to develop whether that turns into the hard numbers. And so it talks about the extraordinary opportunities that are abundant here in California. If you go through the Milken Institute numbers for innovation and economic growth, California has 6 of the metropolitan areas that are in the top 25. A little bit north, and many of you are, I'm sure, from these areas, the Silicon Valley, Menlo Park, San Jose, Santa Clara is the highest economic performing region in the United States of America. And because of its outgrowth, because of its prosperity, because of the people that it's brought together and its culture of innovation, discovery, creativity, academic excellence, building a financial world around those activities, it has spawned and changed that geographic region. So San Francisco is number 2, San Luis Obispo, which had been strongly agrarian, has started to, with its university and other things, move into that technology space. So it's become number 10. Santa Rosa, further to the north, has become number 25. And even areas such as Oakland and heading eastward have been deeply impacted by the prominence and the growth of the Silicon Valley. Now, a little bit north of here, Los Angeles, Long Beach, Glendale actually fell. It's growing as a region, but relative to other regions, it fell. It fell, according to the Milken Institute, from 35th, and it fell 42 spots to 77. And it's not because it's not growing in so many aspects, but one of the great challenges is the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles is the largest port, if you combine the two of them, of entry in the United States of America. And we are heavily dependent on our interactions with South America and heavily dependent, especially with our interactions with Asia. California's largest trading partners are Mexico and Canada, but the Asian countries have been surging over the last decade. And we know that India is growing dramatically, your GDP numbers are increasing. During the last recession, American international corporations, in the midst of what was happening with the mainstream of America's society, like other countries, was heavily dependent on China. China, during that last recession in the United States of America, the rest of the world prospered because China was responsible for 60% of the world's growth. And so when you had 3 of the top 10 countries' GDPs increasing because of minerals and commodities and investments, because China wanted access to those minerals, excuse me, had a huge impact. And so our trade, our promise in Southern California is heavily dependent on these types of interactions, the partnerships that we hope to formulate with you today and going on forward with other countries, Korea, Taiwan, China, Thailand, the Philippines, the incredibly diverse people that make up California and the United States of America. We're very, very excited about the fellowship and the friendships we believe can be especially enhanced as we go forward. And so I wanted you just to have a full specter and an understanding from me and others. For those of you who aren't familiar with California government, I am one of the 8 statewide executive officers in California. We're a state of 39 plus million people. We're a state that has 19 million registered voters. As I mentioned, we're the 6th largest economy for a state in the United States of America. And so that's that context by which we partner. We are an incredibly diverse economy, and for many that we had partnered with prior to the recession, I know a lot of people were scared because the international news was that California was going off into fiscal collapse. I was the former state controller. For those of you who are not familiar with the state controller, I was the chief fiscal officer of the state of California. So I took action to make sure that California did not default on debt. What you witness in Greece, what you witness with the southern periphery, with some of the European countries, what we witness today with Puerto Rico, we were able to avoid that in California. And so relatively, our economic performance after that has been on the upswing. Prior to the recession, we were the world's 8th largest economy with a $2 trillion state domestic product. During the recession, we fell to number 12. Our state domestic product did not drop dramatically. It was that other countries, such as that context I mentioned about China and its commodity needs. We know what happened with Russia, Brazil, Venezuela, other countries. When we all study our basic economics, we know about the cycles, you know about the monetary cycles, we know about the debt cycles, we know about the commodity cycles. And so, you know, as there's greater demand, right, the prices increase, there's greater investment, but at some point things don't always go up and they come back down, as we witness with the economies for a lot of those commodities, right? Brasilia and Mexico took different tracks. And so as those things unfolded, California has restored its economic foundation. And so one of the things that was very exciting as you look for an economic foundation in California, if you look at the ratings agency's analysis of our state over the last 6 weeks, they said California's economic progress is unmatched or unrivaled by any other state. So if you look at the number of upgrades for our issuers' debt issuance, it was over 90, more than other jurisdictions. In fact, many of you may be talking about real estate. I know I talked to one of you who referenced real estate earlier this morning. We had 38 upgrades for issuers in particular regards to real estate. That's more upgrades in a single state than the rest of the United States combined. And as we do this, we continue to work on economic development. So as you think about doing business in California, I hope you'll think about my office. As the state's banker, I process $2 trillion worth of transactions each year. I am responsible for the issuance of the state's debt. And so this isn't all the debt I issue, but just to give you a sense of how healthy that area is in finance, over the last 30 years, all levels of government in California, state, local, have issued $1.5 trillion worth of debt, right? We have different tax structure than a lot of other jurisdictions. We're moving aggressively into the clean space. We have a healthy agriculture, technology, healthcare, life sciences, stem cell, electrical vehicle, artificial intelligence arenas growing throughout the state of California. In addition, I invest the state's money on a short-term basis. So on a daily basis, I invest anywhere from $75 to $80 billion. I know there are financial institutions tied to India that are exploring growing opportunities in California. As you do that and as you serve local communities, you should also contact my office. I mentioned we invest $75 to $80 billion on a daily basis. I have moved $1 billion from our Wall Street relationships, the big Wall Street banks, and put them in community banks throughout the state of California. Right? I'll put them with community banks who are investing in building housing in local communities, who are investing in smaller businesses in California. So these businesses that I chair will create affordable housing. It's one of our big challenges because this state is so incredibly popular that droves want to move in here. So along this coast, it's extraordinarily expensive. It's a high-priced real estate market because we get 12 years of high-quality weather. So people want a better standard of living, quality of life that's provided to all of them. And so with all of that, I just wanted to say the opportunities are abundant. One of the things I'm trying to create is a website that creates a single place of interaction. So we'll put out the framework in December. We're recruiting other levels of government, other entities in each of the level of government so that we can make this better. But as I conclude, I just want all of you to feel encouraged that we in the state of California, both the public and private sector, are excited about your participation, your attendance here at this gathering, and we want to make sure that you have a fulfilling trip and that you understand that all of us extend an open hand and welcome sign to each and every single one of you as we try to create a partnership and a state that includes your hopes and your dreams. Thank you very much.